The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Ketchum, Idaho, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32877. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the front bumper area. Just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, you'll find a passenger and driver side air horn. Located on the face of the bumper on the driver's side, you'll find a mechanical siren recessed into the bumper. There are 2 lights on the bumper extension, passenger side and driver side. These are emergency lights. Moving up to the center of the bumper extension, you'll find a D handle which will gain access into the tubbed storage area for your front bumper load. As we move to the side of the vehicle, you'll find marker lights on each side, passenger and driver side. Moving just inside that location, you'll find the headlight cluster housing low and high beam headlights. High beams will be on the inside. As we move up from that location, you'll find an emergency warning light in combination with a turn marker indicator. Moving up just above the truck 1 on the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers on your seamless windshield. Moving up to the outer edges, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the top, you'll find 5 running lights, in addition with a forward-facing emergency warning light. Located up on the very top of the roof, you'll find 2 emergency warning lights, passenger and driver's side. Here's some close-ups of those images we just talked about, the tub storage location with a swivel 1.5-inch discharge. Let's now move to the side of the apparatus, where we'll identify a few items just to the rear of the driver's entry door. First, you have a battery volt charger. This will activate when plugged into shoreline inlet. This is a 20-amp auto eject plug. Right next to it, you'll find an emergency warning light side-facing. Let's move up to the very rear section of the apparatus, where you'll find a side-facing scene light. And now let's move to the mid-section of the apparatus, where we'll discover some of the pump items. Let's first start here with some warning labels in the upper left-hand corner. This is an entanglement warning regarding those hoses that come off aloft. You do have a Husky 3 foam system. This is the instructions for that. And there's also a minimum operation maintenance schedule, which we'll go over in just a moment. As we move further down, there's a red placard indicating Watrous. This is the type of pump that you have. Next to it is the minimum operation maintenance schedule, and once again we'll cover that in a moment. Moving to the right and slightly down, this is a warning regarding pressure hazard. While caps may be under pressure, removing the cap is hazardous. To the right, you'll find a do not ride on or climb on the side of your apparatus. Be cautious. You'll also have a danger indicator here. Because of this being an aerial device, there is the possibility of electrocution. And then at the very bottom here, you'll find a warning label regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with the red module. This is your Husky foam system. You have a Husky 3 foam system. The green button is the system on and off. Just beneath that, you'll find a digital readout for the foam percentage. The 2 gray buttons are going to be the increase or decrease for that foam percentage. And then moving to the right, you'll find a prime button. There is a status light just to the right with instructions on the top of the operating instructions here, indicating the status system lighting. All the way to the right, you'll find the foam level. This is an indicator for the amount of foam that is currently in the tank. Let's move slightly to the right to the gray area. In this module, you'll find the master intake. Moving to the right, you'll find the master discharge. Between the 2 of those gauges, you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged. Let's move just to the right in this gray area also. This is going to be your pump boss. This is your throttle pressure governor. If illuminated, it would be yellow. It would be the check engine light. Located in the center is a digital readout for the RPMs. And to the right, if illuminated, would be red, a stop engine. Moving further down on the module, you'll find a blue menu button. This allows you to scroll through the various menu functions of your pump boss. Located in the center, you'll find diagnostic information regarding your engine.
and then to the right you'll find a red silence buttons. Moving further down, you'll find two yellow buttons. First, pressure, the other is RPM. Those are your two options, either pressure mode or throttle mode. Moving to the center, once again, a digital readout location. And then to the right, you'll find a green indicator indicating your throttle is ready to engage. Moving further down, if you've set up presets in advance, these would be the preset location. And then moving down, you'll find the throttle. Decrease, you'll turn to the left. To increase, you'll turn to the right. In the center is the ability to push for idle. Just on the outer edge of your pump boss, you'll find this red speaker. This is an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does have the ability to dampen the sound volume. Moving to the right, you'll find your panel lights. When your pump has properly been engaged, you'll find this pump engaged indicator, which will be green. Let's move down from this location. To the left, you'll find that your discharges are set up at the very top. These are going to be all of your crosslays. Moving down to the bottom, you'll find the side panel, number 1 and number 2. Moving to the right, you'll find wheel discharges. These are going to be your aerial discharge and your large diameter passenger side discharge. As we move up to the very top, you'll find your tank refill and recirculating line. And moving down just beneath that, you'll find your tank to pump. Let's move back up to the very far right-hand corner. This is your engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. Let's move further down now to the primer for your fire pump. There are some instructions just beneath it for enhanced operations. If you're at least 1,000 RPMs, this will help in the priming process. Let's move back over to the placard here. First, I'd like to discuss your minimum operation maintenance schedule. These are the test pressures for that. You have in the center the PSIs of 150, 200, and 250. On the left-hand side, you'll have the associated GPM, and on the right-hand side, you'll have the associated RPMs. Also, the job numbers listed in the upper left. You do have a 2,000 capacity GPM pump. This is the information regarding your wattress pump. Just a general view here of the next section we'll talk about. Let's first start in the far left-hand side of the image. This is going to be your foam draft tank. It's also a fill location. Beneath that, you'll find all your associated color-coded and labeled drains. As we move further to the right, you'll find an auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch female inlet. As we moved inside the pan door location, you'll find this yellow valve. The handle indicates on the left-hand side for the instructions for foam fill operations. Just under the side running board, you'll find your foam pump discharge drain and also your foam pump intake drain. As we move up above the panel, you'll find 3 crosslays. As we move inside the dunnage area, this is where you're going to find your Husky 3 Foam Pro. This is the hydraulic pump for it. There is a fill and also a drain location here in addition with a sight gauge. Let's move just further to the rear where you'll find your water tank fill location for top fill operations, and you'll also find the fill locations for top fill operations for your foam. There is a warning label here regarding foam failure and not to mix brands or different types of foam. As we look to the rear section, this is your hose storage location, your hose bed. Let's now move around to the side of the vehicle where we're going to see the shelf here in this compartment. This is a pull-out tray. The release is on the right-hand side. Just underneath this compartment, you'll find the stabilizer pad. Let's talk a little bit about some warning labels here in this area. This is on the stabilizer itself. Because of that movement, there is the ability for crush injury, so there's a warning label here. Directly above that, you will find a side-facing emergency light. Just moving further to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find this danger indication, which is an electrical hazard danger because of it being an aerial device and that ladder going into the air. You'll also find a marker light located here and then the fill location for your DEF tank. Let's move just up from this location for the stabilizer camera. This will illuminate when you deploy your stabilizer. Moving further to the back, this is just over the rear wheel. You'll find in the front your DEF fill location, in the rear your diesel fill. Located just above that, you'll find SCBA bottle storage locations. There are 2 spots here. This is the blue DEF 4.5 cap for your DEF tank. To the rear, you'll find the silver ultra low sulfur diesel fuel cap. Here are some close-ups of those images with those SCBA bottle locations with the doors open. We'll go ahead and move to the next compartment to the rear. With the door in the open position, you'll find a pull-out tray. The release mechanism, once again, is on the lower right. Underneath this compartment is where you'll find your folding wheel chocks. As we move up, your compartment does have LED lighting and also adjustable shelving. To the right, we'll cover this area next. First, let's start with this sight gauge. This is your hydraulic for your ladder. Moving to the right, you'll find an inclinometer. This is from front to rear. And then just beneath that, you'll find the sensor for your ladder. If your ladder is stowed properly, this is the sensor that will engage, indicating that. Let's move up to the pedestal now. First, at the very top is your intercom system. We'll cover that in just a moment. As we move down onto the pedestal itself, you'll find an additional audible speaker. Once again, the outer edge of this bezel does have the ability to dampen the sound. On the right-hand side, you'll find some warning labels here regarding electrocution and crush. And then down at the bottom, you'll find a maintenance access door. We'll go over that next. For calibration for your maintenance personnel, that's on the right-hand side. As we move now back up to the pedestal, we'll open the cover and take a look inside. First, this is going to be your emergency stop button. Moving down from this location, you'll find your tip lights. These are the lights that are at the very tip of the apparatus ladder. Also moving down, you'll find aerial speed, either normal or fast. Back up to the top set of switches, you're going to find ladder illumination. These are the lights that are along the rung area. And moving further down, you'll find your tracking lights, which are going to be at the base of the ladder. Moving further down, you have an emergency hydraulic power. And then as we move to the right-hand side, you'll find your Pierce command zone. There's a tremendous amount of information within this device. Please see your owner's manual for more information on how to operate this and scroll through the various menu functions. In this area, there are 3 functions I'd like to discuss. First, the deploy stow indicator, also the nozzle control, and then ladder control. You can see there's extend, retract, right and left, and lower and raise. In your nozzle control on the left, same functions apply. As we move inside the cover area, there are some information here regarding waterway dry, waterway charged, and also nozzle positions. I'd also like to point out the asterisk down at the bottom regarding icy conditions. As we look to the left, this is the 1911 testing information placard. And as we move back to the very top of the pedestal for your intercom system, this is your volume control and push to talk. Let's move just to the right side of this location onto the ladder itself is where you'll find a 0 to negative 10 degrees and from 0 to 80 degrees. This is the inclinometer of your ladder. Moving to the base of the ladder, you'll find LED step lights in addition with a storage location within this compartmented area. Here's a general view of the ladder looking from the pedestal area moving forward. We'll talk about some of the items within your ladder. First, let's start at the very tip of your ladder. You have 2 fold-down steps for comfort for someone operating a MasterStream device. Also, you have a storage location. There is a warning label here regarding removing and storing of tools while that aerial ladder is in position. You do have control here of your nozzle. Down at the lower section, right-hand side, you'll find your intercom system. This is only volume. It is passive, so you can actually talk and the individual at the other end will hear you. Moving to the nozzle itself of the MasterStream device, it is an automatic nozzle. I'd like to cover this item first. It's now currently in a position where that latch allows you to store the nozzle at a lower position than at the tip. That is the release mechanism on the left-hand side of the image. And see your owner's manual for more information on that operation. This should be done while the ladder is stowed. On the right-hand side of this image, you'll find an additional ground ladder. Quick image of the rear of the truck, and we'll talk about some of the items within this area. First, let's start at the very back. At the very bottom, right and left side, you'll find marker lights. Moving up from that location, you'll find the reverse, turn, and brake indicators, driver and passenger side. We also have warning lights, upper and lower zones. In addition, with work lights located at the very top. And then also at the very bottom, you'll find 2 attachment points here which directly attach to the frame rail for towing purposes. There are 6 compartments here that we'll talk about in just a moment. First, let's start down at the very bottom with the Pierce logo, American flag, and eagle. That's your large diameter aerial intake. At the very top, you'll find your traffic advisor, and then directly located in the center is where you'll find your backup camera. Let's take a look inside the compartment. This is with that compartment in the open position. This is the roll-up door. LED lighting inside. There is an access panel which will gain access for your maintenance personnel. Let's now move to the rear of the apparatus downward from this position. We'll start with a few warning labels down at the very bottom. This is a danger regarding high pressure fluid hazard because of those hydraulic lines. And then of course there's also the warning here for tip over structural failure hazard. Let's move now to the actual valves. This is going to be your function select for your stabilizers. It's the black in the very center. On the left hand side, the color coded green and blue are going to be all your stabilizer functions. And then to the right in the gray area, you'll find your ladder functions. As we move to the upper right hand side, you'll find the selector switch for aerial emergency or stabilizer emergency. Please see your owner's manual for that operation. As we look to the next set of doors, this is for your stabilizers. You'll find first at the top a diagnostic USB interface location. Just beneath that, you'll find a red protected override switch. You'll also find emergency power, level assist, and then your controls for your stabilizers for the driver's side, and then the other side will be the passenger side controls. You should have 4 green lights in this compartment for normal stabilizer function. Let's move to the passenger side. Same things apply here. 4 green indicators regarding normal stabilizer functions. As we move down from this location, you'll find warning labels here on the anchors themselves. This is a failure regarding you should utilize only direct pull. Just beneath that, you'll find a warning label here regarding pressurized hazard. And then to the right, you'll find a warning label here regarding crush injury. As we move to the Pierce American Flag Eagle, this is the large diameter aerial inlet. And then to the right, you'll find the aerial inlet gauge. Moving up from this location, you'll find right to left or driver to passenger side indication here for an inclinometer. And as we move to the very far right, you'll find an aerial drain. This is a twist, not a pull. As we move inside the pan door, you'll find also an aerial drain. Moving up from this location, we'll find our ground ladder stored on the left-hand side. And then also we'll move down and discuss some of those close-ups here. Once again, this is the inclinometer left to right, and then also an intake gauge and aerial drain. Moving to the opposite side, you'll find additional ground ladders and long tool storage location. As we move to the passenger side of the vehicle, you'll also find a maintenance location here for gaining access. To the next compartment forward, we'll find a pull-out style tray. Release mechanism is on the right. LED lighting and also adjustable shelving within that compartment. Let's move forward to the front of the apparatus. This is just in the rear tire area. You'll find the same layout as you do on the driver's side. SCBA bottle storage locations in front of and rear of the rear wheels. As we look to the center compartment, just beneath it, you'll find your stabilizer. There is a crush injury warning located on this also, and also a danger label regarding electrocution hazard. We're moving further forward. We're going to find an additional pull-out shelf in this compartment. The release mechanism is on the right. Just beneath that compartment is where you'll find your stabilizer pad. As we move back to the left-hand side, you're going to find this small label indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust. This is a warning. Be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. Moving overhead, your logo on the ladder itself. As we move to the pump midsection area, we'll find an additional pan door. This will gain access for maintenance personnel so they do not have to remove the entire panel. As we move just above this location, you'll find those 3 cross lays clearly color-coded and labeled. And then as we move down, you'll also find that warning label regarding entanglement because of those hoses coming off from that area. Let's move now down to the pump area where you'll find a warning label also that you should not ride on the side of the apparatus and be cautious when climbing on the apparatus. And once again, a pressurized warning hazard. Starting on the left-hand side, you'll find the Pierce American Flag Eagle large diameter pump intake. And then moving to the right, you'll find your green large diameter passenger side discharge. And then moving to the right again, you'll find the 2.5-inch discharge. This is your number 2 discharge. Down at the very bottom, you'll find all your associated and color-coded drains. We'll move down to the next section here. This module is your cab lift. There is a caution here. Be cautious when operating this device for overhead obstructions and also any bumper components that you may have. We do also have a danger label here because of that hydraulic movement. You will find to raise cab instructions and to lower cab instructions on that placard also. As we move inside the cab, we're going to find at all points of entry warning labels here for personnel. Just a general view inside the cab, you can see there are 4 seating locations within this area, 2 forward facing and also 2 rear facing. The 2 outer hedges do supply compartment space. There are roll-up doors and LED lighting and adjustable shelving within those compartments. Let's move now to the center section. This is just to the rear of the 2 rear-facing seats. In between them, this is the fill location for daily checks for oil and transmission. Located in between the seats, you'll find your battery charging system. When plugged into shore power, that outlet will be activated, activating your auto charge system. You'll also find in the rear of the seats your siren module, located once again point of entry, so you'll have those warning labels on all those panel doors. As we move just inside the officer's area, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wipers, and then also you'll find at the very base, kind of difficult to see in this image, but there is a foot pedal here. This is for your electronic siren. Just under the officer seat, there is a pedestal. Within that pedestal, there is going to be a storage location. That's going to be forward facing. And then as we move overhead of the officer seat, you'll find 3 locations for additional modules. These are future plaques. You'll also find push on and off red and white lights. The activation will be the actual lens. Located in the center, you'll find your seatbelt information. We'll cover that in a moment. You also have a red LED pulsating light that indicates that you have a compartment or door ajar and not to move your apparatus. This is the seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they're in the seat and belted. As we move forward to that location, you'll find your do not move your apparatus if this light is flashing. Once again, open door or compartment. As we move to the dash itself, you'll find a push button for the air horn. Just beneath that, you'll find USB 12-volt access, and then also cigarette lighter or barrel style 12-volt access. We're now in the driver's area, point of entry, so we have these warning labels on the door panel itself. We also have information here regarding the use of seat belts. I would like to point out down at the lower section here about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard. We'll talk about that next. This is your manufactured by Pierce. It is a placard indicating the gross vehicle weight ratings, job numbers, cold tire inflation, VIN number, and it also has all of your fluid capacities for the components, fluid capacity, and fluid type. Located in the step well, you'll find an auto eject for your air inlet. As we move back up to the floor area, you'll find your electronic siren foot pedal right next to the brake treadle. Moving up at about the left knee, you'll find your master battery switch. To the right, you'll find a diagnostic port. This is for your engine, transmission, ABS, and J1939. This is for your maintenance personnel. Below that, you'll find ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit. Moving up from this location, we're going to find a set of switches. This is your aerial master, aerial PTO engaged, and stabilizers not stowed. Those are both indicators. And then to the right, you'll find your stabilizer camera and then front wheel lock. Moving to the right of the column, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions here from road to pump and then from pump to road on the right-hand side. Before exiting the cab for pump operations, you'll need 2 indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump. Let's move to the right of this location and slightly upward. You'll find your mirror control for main mirror and convex mirror. You'll also find just to the right of the steering column the OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Moving to the left-hand side of the steering column on the dash, you'll find your ignition and start switch. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find the EM switch, which stands for Emergency Master, your parking and headlights, and also a panel rocker switch, which allows you to brighten or dim the lights around the cluster. On the left, you'll find your transmission oil DEF level and water temperature. Located in the center, you have a tachometer and speedometer. To the right, you'll find your volts, fuel, front and rear air. Informational for diagnostics will apply above and below the speedometer. Just a general view here of the passenger and driver's side. First, let's take a look at the driver's side area. First, we'll start with the pull to apply your system parking brake. It is the yellow diamond located in the image. To the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad with an indicator to pump in drive. Let's move all the way to the very top. This is going to be your siren functions. You do have an EQ2B. This is for your siren functions and PA speaker system. Moving down from that, you'll find your air horn or electric horn. This is a selector switch. To the right, you'll find in red a siren brake and load manager. All the way to the right, you'll find your windshield wiper control and push to apply fluid. Just beneath that, you'll find the engine brake on and off, a settings for low, medium, or high, and then your mirror heat. Located directly in the center, you'll find climate control for heat defrost, heat, and also AC. As we move to the position over the head of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard, your height 11 feet, 9.43 inches, your length 39 feet, 3.5 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 56,300 pounds. If you make any changes, please update this placard. Moving just to the right of that, you'll find a set of switches housing the emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When these switches have been engaged, the green indicator will illuminate. Moving to the right, same set of rocker switches with the green illumination of the indication meaning that the light is on. Let's start with the left of the driver front flood, passenger, driver side, cab scene, driver side flood, passenger side flood, and also your deck lights. To the right, you'll find your traffic advisor control module. Moving further to the right, you'll find the display for your cameras, which are going to be for your outriggers and backup camera. General view from the driver's seat overhead. General view from the front looking to the rear. In the rear section, I would like to point out there is also those red and white push on and off lights. Congratulations, Ketchum, Idaho, on your new apparatus, job number 32877. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.